the holidays have a way of amplifying everything: your joy, your healing, your loneliness, and your growth. If it feels a little different this year, you're not alone. Welcome to Wandering the Wild Mess with Heather Morgan. I am so happy you're here. All right, we're releasing this around the holidays, and I really want to talk about it because I honestly know that the holidays feel so different when your life changes. And I feel like a lot of people have a number of reasons why life feels a little bit different around the holidays. And I think one thing I didn't really realize even growing up, I think when we're all kids and we love it and it's magical. And then as we get older, we're like, where's the magic? And things just shift and change. And we kind of try to make the new magic, right? And the truth is that it's really one of those times where you can either feel overwhelmed with joy to be around the people that you're with, or you can completely feel like grief for not having certain people in your life anymore. And I know that this is true for people that have gotten divorced, that have kids. I can only imagine how hard that would be to have to like split holidays and things like that. And I know I had posted something about a flashback of remembering my first Thanksgiving shopping, like doing grocery shopping, and literally wanting to like pretty much tear up in the grocery store because it was like my first year spending Thanksgiving alone. And I had went from, like I'd mentioned, like cooking every year for a whole bunch of people, his family or mine, and like making the turkey and doing all that. And then my Thanksgiving shifted. And I just did my second 5K with my dog for Thanksgiving. So it's totally different because I was cooking all morning and watching the parade and making breakfast. I mean, it was a whole day. It looks completely different. And I think I want to remind you that although this is a time that can feel heavy for a lot of people, and especially like I remember the first Christmas after losing my dad, it was kind of like I didn't even want to celebrate. I remember me and my little sister went to the movies because I think it was like a movie my dad loved. I'm not really a big movie buff, but I feel like it was something he would have wanted to see. And it was like, how do we celebrate now? And so whether that's like you've gotten out of a relationship, divorced, you don't have your kids, you lost a loved one. I mean, I have a friend back home that her grandma's not doing well, and it's kind of throwing the holidays off because she's nearing the end, and it's, you know, she's been a part of their holidays for so long, and then you just have to navigate them. And even me, as I am like preparing to go back home to Salt Lake, like this is my grandpa passed, and like he was just my last grandpa my last grandparent on my mom's side, right? And so now I want to get the family together, but it's just gonna look different. And let's kind of talk through how we don't sit in that pity. Because I think sometimes, it's really good to feel the emotions and go like, okay, but I want you to not see it solely as I'm so alone. This means, you know, my life's always going to be hard. Like, I don't even care about Christmas anymore, which honestly, like, let's be real here. I got to be honest. Like, I have not like decorated since my divorce. Last year I bought 2 Wrangler stockings for me and my dog because I got a fireplace. So I was like, well, I have to have stockings. But that is legit the whole, that's all the Christmas decor I have. I haven't had a tree since. So this is coming on the 3rd year. So my house is not, and if you knew me in my past life, we chopped down a Christmas tree. We went out into the woods and chopped down a Christmas tree, and then we brought it back, and then we decorated all day, and Christmas music on the record player with some wine, decorated everything. We had an annual ugly sweater party with our friends. We did the Christmas lights at Temple Square with the dinners. We did all of it. I would go see the Christmas Carol at Hell Center Theater, which was like a play of the Christmas Carol every year with my mom's sister and grandma. And then when my grandma passed, it kind of fell off. So it's crazy that we have all these traditions and then things change that, and we're grieving that change. But that doesn't mean that we can't see it joyful in other ways. And the reason I even bring up that I haven't decorated, because I'm telling you to see the positive, but I'm not seeing the negative by not decorating. I don't want to say I don't feel the Christmas spirit, but maybe kinda. Maybe it's just kind of been like, it's kind of like pushed down, and maybe I just associated so much of Christmas with my past life and the traditions I had that it's hard to kind of like fit it in this new life that I'm living. So maybe that's a better way to put it, but I'm not necessarily like sad about it. And I think I think that you kind of have to decide, are we going to wallow in this, or is it just like it just feels different, and that's okay. Like nothing is forever. Nothing is permanent. Everything has an expiration date on this planet. And that's okay. And that's like a place of acceptance. And finding joy in other things is that it's going to be valuable for you to learn that skill over time, wherever you are in life. And if you haven't learned it yet, things out of your control are going to happen, and finding the way to kind of reframe them, right? Feel the grief, feel the sadness, but don't wallow in your sadness, because there are so many beautiful things that can happen when life is different. And I wish I had a personal real world example about, something that was like, oh, this changed my whole life when I didn't celebrate the holidays. But I will tell you that I just, after like Thanksgiving, I went down to Knoxville over the Thanksgiving weekend and saw Vandy crush the balls, which is like, no. But that was like so fun. And it was so different. Like, I can't even imagine my like Utah life, doing all that, and we're chopping down a tree the next day and decorating whatever. I wouldn't even have been going to an SEC football game, like for an in-state rivalry. Like, it was so much fun. I had literally the best time. And it's like, were there moments where it's like, yeah, this feels so much different? Like, yeah, but like, what's wrong with that? And I think I want to remind you sometime is that different, although it feels uncomfortable, doesn't mean wrong. It just means you haven't like fully acclimated to the change, and you haven't like anchored in that new part of your life. And this I want to bring up because I feel like I have people in my circle that like, they're like, nobody wants to break up before the holidays. Which is fine. And that's why they say like divorce rates spike like after the holidays, like in January. And this is not a plug for anyone to get divorced, but this is like real life experience from people, because I had friends back home that were married, and I swear the holidays saved their marriage for a couple more months every time, because you're so distracted. You're so in your life. You're so in there. But this is just one of those reminders that oftentimes staying in the traditions that you have in your life, or staying in anything that you consistently, that's not always the better path. And yeah, maybe you'd have this whole Christmas would feel like it looked like again, but at what cost? Do you know what I mean? Like, at what cost? Because if that isn't really, I mean, I remember thinking my first Thanksgiving, like when we were separated, like, I don't know how to do this. But I'm so glad I just sat in the discomfort and knew that it will just evolve and it's okay. Because there are so many times that we go back to comfort and we miss out on what could have been. Like the Vols Vandy game. That was fun. But I'm just saying there is opportunity to see the good and the difference and to not feel so alone. And I feel like, what is the thing you've always been wanting to do? Like, I know some friends that weren't going to be with anyone on Thanksgiving. And it's like, fill your time with things that you enjoy. I know at least if you were married or even in a relationship, there are moments where you're like, I just want to do something for me. Why don't you use that opportunity for that to be the moment? Do the thing you love. Do something you've been putting off. Know that everything is just seasons, things pass and they go by. And I am sending you so much love because I literally had so many people react to the first Thanksgiving alone, and I could just feel the energy of sadness from people trying to move through the holidays when their life looks different. And I want you to know that you're right where you're supposed to be. And this is building so much resilience and strength for you to move through life when it doesn't feel comfortable, when it's not filled with distractions, when you just have to sit with yourself. I promise you it can feel lonely and isolating, but it is for you. It's for your growth. There is beauty in the mess of it. And it is an opportunity for you to really understand what you value and what the holidays should look like for you. I think sometimes, and maybe this is kind of why I have not been as holiday spirit-ish, is that I felt like some of the false magic that I was doing, like in my marriage, was like, it was kind of like keeping me there. The traditions were like, but we always do this, but we always do that. Like, we always do this. And you can go a whole nother year of that because there's always going to be something. And I think about that even with my like first love. I was like, I knew I wanted to break up with him. That's a fun fact. I've always been the breaker upper. But I was like, oh, but I can't because this wedding's coming up. But this is coming up. This is coming up. And when you do that, I just want to remember that like you're staying somewhere because of some like commercialized or social event that you feel like you need someone to be there for, not because you want to stay. And I know some circumstances are people left you and now you feel, okay, well, Heather, I didn't want the breakup. I didn't want the divorce. They left me. Now I'm alone. Now what? I hear you and I see you, but I know you're worthy of someone that would want to spend the holidays with you. And so that person that left made room for the person who wants to spend the holidays with you to come. And I know that sounds hard because you're like, well, can they come right now? And I'm like, I don't know. That's God's timing, not mine. But I know that they will more easily come when you're not clinging to the idea that you need someone else in this moment. And friendships are good. I had a lot of people say like, I have my friends. So, but I know that's not the same because I remember when I was first divorced and we went and did Oktoberfest at Snowbird, which is in Utah, like we would always do, and I was with my friends and you think I should just have a great old time. But I was like, it's not even that, even when you don't want to be back, it's like, this just feels so different. And anything that is different than what you're used to just is going to feel uncomfortable. But I like to think of it as like, and I might have said this before, but life is really like a curriculum, right? You're like learning new things. And as you're gaining strength in the pain, no pain, no gain, you know? I don't know where that came from, but you know, and so as you feel the pain, I'm trying to make you laugh here. Let's go. But as you feel the pain of the isolation, the loneliness, the difference in the holiday season, I just want to remind you, like, you're creating space for someone that wants to spend it with you. Or if you're just getting to enjoy like a holiday that's a little more quiet, like who said that's wrong? I know when I was a kid, I was like, gosh, I wish my family was like home alone. They're running around. Fuller, go easy on the Pepsi. Like that looks so fun. You know, I want that chaos. But it's like, maybe that will be my life one day. But like, if it's not today, like it's okay. And even though this is like a holiday-ish episode, you know I'm always about the reframes. And I think the law of detachment, you know, is huge because you really learn to like detach from any specific outcome. And when you get divorced, when you change your life, when you do anything really disruptive, you don't always know how it's going to go. So you really quickly learn that detachment is going to be your easiest path forward, path of least resistance. Because when you're detached, you release the friction. And detached doesn't mean that you don't want for more. It just means that you know what you want, you trust it will come, and you're detached from the how and when. And so if you're sitting here going like, when is it going to not feel like this? When is it not? I promise it's going to get better. I promise if you take a moment to remember the moments, maybe, I know sometimes it's easy to see I'm not this person, but I know talking to people, it's easier to see the good reasons why you stayed. But most of the time, if something ended, there was, you know, the reasons. And when someone passes away, like that circle of life. Now I had to learn that at 26 with my best friend, my dad. And honestly, I remember after my divorce being like, I don't know which one's harder because losing my dad, it was like, at least I knew he could never come back. It was just permanent. Losing, you know, leaving my marriage, it was like you're grieving something that's not really gone that could still be, but is not for you. And so it's a very different, like less permanent, but permanent feeling. And so grief is just part of the journey, I guess, is what I'll end you with. Like grief is just part of being a human and having emotions and navigating the world. And sometimes I have to remind myself, like I literally, and I'll say this, like, the other night, because I cry from gratitude all the time. If y'all listen, you know I cry on the podcast all the time. I'm just moved. But I cried myself to sleep the other night. Literally like full blown, like fell asleep crying. And I don't know if I've ever done that before. Or at least I couldn't remember and and I'm still happy. It's just sometimes grief overwhelms us. But that just means that we're allowing ourselves to feel. And that, just like anything, like a pressure cooker, it needs to be released. So even if your holiday's like, yeah, I literally cried on the couch for a couple hours. Like, don't be like, that's miserable. Be like, thank goodness I got all that out. I felt my feelings. I let my emotions be real. And that's the most human experience you can have. And that is literally you allowing yourself to be you. Which, that's why you're here. I always say that. Fuller, go easy on the Pepsi. Just kidding. I wanted to say that one more time. That's like my favorite movie. I haven't watched that in over 3 years either. But anyway, so making light that I just want you to know you can feel alone, but you're not alone. There are so many others of us that know exactly what it feels like. Maybe not exactly your scenario, but exactly what it feels like to feel so lost and alone on the holidays and grieve someone. We've all lost someone we love in some way or another. Circle of life again. It comes to law of detachment. You can love someone so hard, but detach knowing that not everything stays forever. And once you get to that place, it's so peaceful. It's just so peaceful. And the other thing I'll say is that like I lost my last grandparent so now I have no grandparents left. And I was just in Oklahoma for that. And I realized like that's kind of a whole interesting other circle of life because they were such a big part of my life for so long that I'm like, now I don't have grandparents, like sending a Christmas card or doing like, you know what I mean? But I'm just like, I mean, the woman was 98. Am I going to grieve that? I'm like, good for her. Let's go. And sometimes it's just the reframe, the laugh it off. It's not that serious. I swear you're going to get through it. Go watch. I don't know if I'm going to tell you to watch a Christmas movie, but there are some good Christmas movies. We'll see if I, distract yourself in a healthy way, not a boxed wines way. I'm not doing that anymore. This was the first Thanksgiving I can remember that I didn't have an ounce of alcohol, no wine. Not that I like was saying it was a thing, but it kind of was like after my divorce, like that's what I had been doing. And this is like, meh, it's just a day. Just moving through the motions. But if you're not there yet, don't worry. You'll come around. But it felt like a big win for me because I realized like I'm not drowning my sorrows. I'm accepting my reality and I'm making my mind up to make the best of it. And I want that for you too. So again, if you got anything, I hope you have the best holidays, whatever it looks like, reframe it. You got it. Your whole life can look completely different by this time next year. So don't hold on to it's never going to work out for me because it absolutely is. All right. So happy holidays, Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, all the things that I'm missing. Kwanzaa. Is that something? Yeah, all of them. And then go to the podcast, give it 5 stars, share it with someone that might be lonely this holiday season so that they know, dude, you're not alone. There's a lot of us. It's just we're literally sitting in our house being like, this looks a lot different, but you're going to be fine. I promise. Cry it out on the couch. Eat a bonbon. Do people even buy those? I don't know. Anyways, and thank you so much for listening to Wandering the Wild Mess with Heather Morgan. You matter.